Months now since we've had Andrei on, military analyst and author. His links are in the description box, his blog, his YouTube channel. Please support his important work. So much has happened. We've even got this, what is it, a technical meeting in Saudi Arabia? What do you think is happening there, and what do you think will be the outcome, Andrei? And thanks for coming back, man.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, I mean, Riyadh is just technical work. I mean, they sit there, they talk, and as Mr. Peskov stated, and Russian side was on record from the get-go, don't expect any kind of breakthroughs. This is all about the larger geopolitical framework. Ukraine is not really the part of it because Ukraine is not America's business per se, because Russia will decide how to deal with that. There is obviously humanitarian issues like this Black Sea deal, these grains and all that stuff. But other than that, I mean, special military operation continues as it was happening before. I understand some people will be, hurt hearing this, but the killing continues on the industrial scale of the remnants of the armed forces of Ukraine. And it will continue until the all military and political objectives of the special military operation are met. And that's pretty much it. The Russians are not interested in, United States, or the United States has to kind of change its role, because it was the United States with Europeans who were behind the unleashing this hell starting from 2014 Maidan. But yeah, it's coming to an end. And but the rest of it is between United States and Russia, and it is about larger geopolitical framework, about the modus vivendi between two superpowers, because nobody wants the World War III going nuclear. We live in a World War III as it is happening essentially, but it's this particular phase of it is coming to a close.
You said Russia's going to achieve its objectives. What are the objectives of the special military operation?
Oh, they never changed in general. It's just the details which are describing them change somewhat. As favorite phrase in every single Russian document or Russian statement, ranging from Vladimir Putin to Mr. Peskov to Mr. Lavrov. And this phrase is considering realities on the ground. And Russians are changing those realities, obviously, every day, daily, So, and other than that, it's the demilitarization and neutral status of whatever will be left of Ukraine, and denazification. And the rest of it, territorial acquisitions and things like that, they are out of the question. Nobody's going to be discussing them.
How prevalent are the Nazis, the neo-Nazis in Ukraine?
Oh, very prevalent. Essentially, the Kiev regime is, it's a Nazi regime, essentially, neo-Nazi regime. And they are all over the place there. And they are essentially the guys who are running the show, and they are supported by the London, by Washington, D.C., and that's who they are. Because guess what? It's not me, albeit I've been talking about it for more than 10 years. Now Mr. Lavrov comes out today, and I quote, "Europe supports Nazis, period." And that's just the way it is. Nothing could be changed about it.
So there was this concession then. They were talking about not hitting energy infrastructure.
Yeah.
What is the relevance of that?
Oh, irrelevant, absolutely. Russians gave, so to speak, Trump a little bit of their, maneuvering space, because he had to say, yeah, we negotiated something. Well, sure, within 24 hours, Ukraine violated it, so there you go. And Russians are being very prudent and very deliberate on that. They are saying that what you would expect them saying, that, you see, you cannot negotiate with these people. And there you go. So, well, we move on from this point.
So does Trump have a chance of winding this down, or is it just going to play out?
No, he doesn't. I mean, it's beyond the capability of the combined West, let alone United States alone. And the only thing I don't know how much time he has left to completely disassociate himself from this catastrophe, which of course started at his it started at Obama's, who really pushed forward with thorough rearmament of Ukraine. So on his first term, so we'll see. But if not, as I already stated, it doesn't matter. United States has no resources now to provide for anything of substance which can basically avert, which have been clear since the start, that Ukraine will be utterly defeated. It's just a matter of now how much of it will be left, if any, So, and yeah, that's what is at stake here.
So why is this guy trying to keep it going? And when I say this guy, Keir Starmer.
He is, well, let's take a look at the last four of them in London, okay? There are cretins, basically, most of them. Bojo, Lees, whatever, these are people who are the products of the degree mills in Oxford and all other British, allegedly elite schools. They have degrees in nothing. They have no military experience. They have no experience of real statesmanship, which nobody saw from the combined West, especially in Europe, in decades now. And he is, well, he still thinks, as many in London elite think, that United Kingdom still matters. Pardon for me saying this, but it doesn't. It's irrelevant. And so he wants to keep himself somehow at the center stage, maybe trying to influence Trump's decisions, but Europe is irrelevant. I mean, absolutely irrelevant. And as a result, even British military told him today, or yesterday actually, that, dude, don't get ahead of yourself, with all those idiotic plans. But again, remember Bojo? He wanted to conduct military operation of stealing the masks, from Dutch. I mean, this is the level of the products they produce in Oxford and King's College, and that's who they are, morons. So that because all of their degrees are fake, and professors who teach them also fake, And same goes for Sandhurst and the General Staff College in London. Well, to a degree, it also goes for the military academies in the United States.
So if you just joined us, folks, if you've got any questions about the Ukraine, Russia, or geopolitics for Andrei, put them in the chat. Linda wants to know, how does Andrei think Zelensky is doing as president?
He's a muppet. He's an avatar. And he is controlled on one side by SAS, which is MI6 in the end, because these are the guys who guard him, and they will off him the moment he tries to do something which is not to the taste of London. On the other hand, he's under total control of Nazis, who also will off him if he does something stupid. So there you go. You have a good, collusion between London and Nazis, not the first time, by the way. And so, yeah, and he is nobody. He is the dead man walking, especially now that his whole, idea that United States somehow will support him, this organized crime group of Biden and Democratic National Committee, which is now away from the levers of power, essentially, in the United States. And as a result, he's not doing, he's basically, I don't know how much of cocaine he consumes now. I do not envy him, He probably knows that he's gonna die. This type of people do not live.
Yeah, he's got a lot of bad karma. And the CIA, they love working with Nazis as well. Do you remember Klaus Barbie, the butcher?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Operation Paperclip, all that stuff. I mean, come on. I mean, U.S. Army was shaped, its doctrinal thinking was shaped by Wehrmacht generals, okay? Mr. von Braun, I mean, the father of the American space program, was none other than SS officer, okay? So, yeah, it's a normal thing.
So we got a question from Deanne. Is Keir Starmer likely to provoke war with Russia at this rate?
No, he cannot do that. Well, he may try, but you have to understand what I already stated. And for some British people, it would sound like an insult, but it is the reality. UK is irrelevant. It's military, political, and economic midget. And so he may try, but I think that he doesn't even have resources. United Kingdom has no resources to provoke anything, because even the British nuclear deterrent, which is on the Trafalgar class submarines, it's good old American-made Trident 2D5, which obviously Britain cannot even launch without the American permission. So other than that, I don't know. United Kingdom doesn't have forces, army, or for that matter, real functional navy to unleash anything.
So on the news here to the British people, Keir Starmer's claiming they've got all these Russian assets frozen, billions, like a $250 billion or something, and he wants to use them to keep supplying arms to Ukraine. And it's not going to cost the taxpayers anything because it's all frozen Russian assets. Is he just talking BS?
Yeah, everything which comes out from London in the last, I don't know, couple decades is BS. It is the country with no capability of anything. Even if to imagine, for example, that somehow he manages to unlock those 300 billion, which are actually smeared all over European banks. So you cannot, he might have access theoretically for like 20 or 30 billion, where he is going to buy whatever he wants to buy. I mean, it's like, yeah, I can have $1 billion on the, isolated island. How much good will it do to me, when I cannot buy what I want? And this is the reality of European NATO, and for that matter, right now, United States, which is deep into the untouchable stocks of its ammunition and equipment. And that's just the way it is. So it doesn't matter how much money he unlocks, if to imagine this, of course, because it will do no good because there's nothing to buy for this money.
So thank you for all the questions coming in, folks. Don't forget to subscribe to Andrei on YouTube and read his blog. I've got the links in the live chat. So please go over there and subscribe. So you're getting asked about how arms that are getting sent to Ukraine are ending up with the Mexican cartel.
Oh, they are ending up not only with the Mexican cartels. I'm sure that, and I've heard the rumors, let's put it this way, that many of them are stored in Europe too. And there are very many people in Europe, especially of the not indigenous European origin, who will gladly use them on Europeans. So, I mean, it's the chickens are coming home to roost, and all this is done by Ukrainian military, which, of course, they make money. So it's not just Mexican cartels. There are plenty of terrorist organizations and ethnic organized crime groups in Europe, for example, who have access to these weapons. So, and Europe will have fun time very soon.
So you're saying that these weapons that are supposed to be going to Ukraine go to Ukraine, but then they put them on the market, the black market, and they end up with the Mexican cartel, and then the weapons end up getting used on, for example, American people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, as I already stated, it's not just Americans, it's Europeans too, because there are many ethnic organized crime groups and diaspora, which they don't like Europeans, frankly, So, and they, unlike, law-abiding Europeans, if you wish, they have the access and they are ready to break the law, and they are getting ready to break the law. And, it's just like about half a year ago, maybe 8 months, the number of the former intel and military people in France wrote the open letter about the situation that France is about to collapse, essentially as the nation state. Well, guess what? There are many people there who would help along the way. But of course, considering who are political elites, the quote unquote, in Europe, these people, again, apart from being obviously people without morals, ethics, or what have you, they are morons. They do not understand things how they happen, and they are those cats with the silver spoons, so to speak. And as a result, we see what is happening right now in Europe too. And not only in the United States. United States also have been driven into the ground, which was accelerated drive with the Biden administration. And yeah, that situation is pretty bad.
So the weapons then, the companies that must be making so much money that once they get rid of the weapons, they don't care where they go because they're just making millions at the taxpayer's expense. Is that how it works?
Yeah, they don't care. As long as they make, they meet their bottom line, as long their stocks are high. So that's the system. And that is why, that continues. Albeit, I have to point out that eventually people may overestimate the value of those small arms and things like RPGs, probably Stingers, a type of the manpads and things like that. But they make money. We have to understand military industrial complex, especially American military industrial complex, of making grossly overpriced huge items. That's where the real money is. When you look attentively at let's say Patriot Pack 3, which is pathetic air defense systems, whose efficiency is just downright ridiculous, preposterous. Yet single battery of the Patriot Pack 3, Patriot Advanced Capability 3, is $1+ billion. That's where the money is, man. I'm in the wrong business. I need to go into the design and engineering of those rather, just sit on the corporate, board there. That's where the money. It's look at this F-35, which doesn't meet even key 6 positions on the combat readiness. Most of it is not ready to perform missions. $90+ million, man. So you pay $90+ million for a thing which doesn't fly and cannot perform in real combat. And so that's how you make money, That's where real thing is, But yeah, that side business of selling all those small arms, including RPGs, that's pretty much what you have on the level of, let's say, the platoon, infantry platoon. Yeah, that's a good side business. And many people, especially in Ukraine, made fortunes on that.
And is it true these weapons have a shelf life, so they have to find a war somewhere, or the companies will lose that money?
Armor does have, but I mean, small arms armor can last for a long time. They're, let's say, manpad missiles, such as Stinger, for example, or Strela, or Igla. They have a shelf life. You have to maintain them, and you have to periodically do what is called test shootout, if you wish, or to test them and see how technically ready those weapon systems are. And eventually they decline, obviously. Anything declines, So.
All right, thanks for all the questions, folks. Keep them coming in. So Tammy wants to know, is there going to be a ceasefire, and what will happen after the ceasefire?
No, there will be no ceasefire. It was clear. It's the talk from Trump administration. Russians like, yeah, sure, we are ready when we solve the main issue, and the main issue is to finish a special military operation.
So in the past, hasn't Russia been double-crossed, the Minsk, etc.?
Yeah, that's what many people don't understand. Russians do not trust West at all. I mean, so and the only reason they talk to Trump is, of course, it's better to talk than fight, make no mistake. And nobody wants their World War III going nuclear, so it's good, it's positive. Russians not going to be talking to Europe.
Could you explain how Russia was double-crossed in previous agreements?
Oh, I mean, Istanbul. Yeah, Istanbul talks with Bojo running the interference. Then, of course, Minsk 1, Minsk 2, to the point that Mr. Holland, the president of, was he prime minister? I don't remember all those chihuahuas. So Holland and Merkel, they openly stated, Merkel openly came out and said, Minsk 2 was to cheat Russia, to allow Ukraine to regroup and rearm. So what do you expect?
So if there was a ceasefire now, that would be the risk that Ukraine
there
would
will be no ceasefire. Yeah, that Russians are not going there anymore because there is no trust in the West at all, including United States. But in United States has the one privilege which Europe doesn't. United States is a superpower. It can invoke this privilege and find the off-ramp. That's what United States tries to find now, this off-ramp to let Europeans hold the bag with the known substance after it's all, done and said and done, and that's what is happening.
So Tracy wants to know, how does South Africa fit into this? Are they staying neutral or are they siding with Russia?
Oh, it's difficult to say. I mean, it's such a complex country, especially with the whole host of problems they face, and they face economic issues. They have the racial issues and things of this nature. So it's difficult to say what is the dynamics and who is who in their political life. So it's not my pay grade to even try to pretend what they will do soon. Who knows?
And what is the role of BRICS in all this?
Well, it's a huge role, because if you take a look at what BRICS really is, and especially when you look at this RIC part of the BRICS, which is Russia, India, and China, economically they dwarf combined West. And I'm talking about real economy, not this BS from Wall Street, like counting this. Oh yeah, the gross domestic product. Well, the Dutch, for example, count prostitution and drug trade as the part of the gross domestic product, for example. So, but no, we're talking about in terms of real economy, in terms of production, and militarily, they also dwarf the combined West. So BRICS is extremely important, and these three especially important, and for Russia it is critical to make sure that China and India at least maintain their working relations. But yeah, it's very important.
And is it a threat to the US dollar?
Oh, it's US dollar is already have been essentially killed. It's just a matter of how fast the body will cool down, because Russia is absolutely independent of the US dollar. And BRICS has its own SWIFT equivalent of SWIFT. So, and yeah, you can pay for whatever, which is happening, for whatever you buy from Russia, in their own current currencies. You bypass the dollar practically, So if the rest of the world wants to continue to use it, sure. And then Washington will obviously twist hands, as Mr. Trump himself stated. But it doesn't matter. The dollar was always based. Its main thing was based around the mythology of American military might, that it can come and enforce, that, oh, you don't use our dollar, here we are, like Libya, for example. Okay, or any other countries such as Iraq, or the problem, of course, with those people in Pentagon, they don't know what real war is, and now they will encounter something like Russia. Combined West is simply incapable to fight the real war, let alone enforce anything about Russians. So, and we came to this, to a head with the special military operation. And suddenly we have what it is, and Trump administration needs to negotiate, because this is, it's not only that they consider the Asian theater of operation more important, albeit, of course, they are scared absolutely by Chinese gigantic economy. It's just monstrous. It dwarfs American economy. But it's just the way it is. I mean, as I already stated, these are the people who are products of these Ivy League degree meals. They attend them, get some soft degrees in nothing, and then they pretend that they somehow are geopolitical thinkers, so they know what the war is. They are not. They are utterly incompetent, including most of the US military, and especially its generals. And as a result, they suddenly, the main pillar on which dollar was based, this mythology, if you might remember, Mr. Ledin, former aide to National Security Advisor, neocon's neocon, he issued the Ledin Doctrine, in the 1990s, end of 1990s, that he said, what, once every 10 years, we have to grab one, crappy country and, throw it against the wall to demonstrate that we mean business. Well, yeah, it's crappy countries. If he thinks that he can do, yeah, I mean, we know where it all goes. It's obviously what was working on the, this almost hysterical pitch I don't know, ejaculation of the emotions, after the Gulf War 1.0, when they beat the, semi-literate, unorganized, and backward army by Saddam, and it was presented as an unheard of achievement. So, and that's what happens. Now they see the serious business, and Pentagon and U.S. military is not ready. It actually never has been, theoretically speaking. So, and as per European NATO, that's why they are shaking and quaking in their boots, because they are afraid that the United States will quit. I don't think so the United States will quit, but it's definitely in the idea behind Trump's administration, geopolitics, if you wish, to kind of reduce their burden, so to speak.
Yeah, so Keir Starmer's talking about sending troops from England. And are there any young Ukrainian men left, or have they all been sent into the meat grinder?
We have now confirmation. It's all documented. They are catching now 14-year-olds. Forget about 18-year-olds. There are units right now consisting of women only, and now they are throwing into the meat grinder people such as the radar operators and radar technicians, which are extremely important for the operation. So yeah. And yeah, they are beginning to use the last of the sperm bank of the Ukrainian nation. And once that is done, because Russians will kill them all, there you go. Then that's the reality. That's the bottom line. They do not want to talk about it, but when I say that the governments in London and especially media are war criminals, I mean it. I mean, that's what they do. They commit the crime against humanity, and as their adventurism in Kursk demonstrated, you have to dissolve all the, basically U.S. military academies and London, Sandhurst, and all that, because they are professionally incompetent people. Plus, they are obviously very, war criminals. You throw 70,000 people, and they are all killed. So basically, they lost a combined arms army, very strong combined armed army in Kursk alone. Do you know the size of the Kursk area where it all happened? It was from the start, it was 159 square miles. To understand what it is, it's less than half of the city of New York with boroughs, area-wise. So they killed 70,000 there. Rather, Russians killed them, but they fed all that cannon fodder there. So, and thousands of vehicles. If you look at videos, take a look at videos from there, it is just absolute. I mean, it littered with bodies, burned equipment. It's just a massacre. So, and they thought they are great military planners. They're not.
Where do you find videos like that?
Oh, Telegram channels all over the place. I do go to my blog. I put out some of them. You look at Suja today, it's just littered with all this, British, German, American equipment. You go to, any kind of road there are columns of the burned Ukrainian equipment, including all those, tanks, Bradleys, what have you, Humvees, in terms of bodies, everywhere. Piles of bodies, and especially in those forest areas. So there you go.
It's so sad, all these people dying so these war criminals can do things like, Burisma, the Biden crime family, BlackRock, all these vested interests that are in there. It's disgusting. So if all of the soldiers are nearly gone, wouldn't the right thing to stop the war be to stop arms and stop intelligence? But Trump resumed arms and intelligence. Doesn't that just keep it going?
Well, evidently the latest news from Rzeszów, Polish city near border, which was the main distribution hub for American military aid, it's being evidently disassembled right now as we speak. I don't have 100% confirmation of it, but looks like they are removing all kinds of channels there. And yeah, they still provide obviously 24/7 the ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and recon, but it doesn't matter. And Russians are not going to do any ceasefire until everything is demolished And Russians are damn serious, And this is the problem with those so-called scholars. They are morons, which would you expect from Council on Foreign Relations, and all those, Chatham House, those MI6 analysts, the guys who are amateurs, basically. They know how to do the false flag. They don't know what real war is. And so Russians will finish it off. And then, Putin started to drop more and more this term Novorossiya, Novorussia. And I even made a video about it, specifically dedicated to it, what Novorossiya is. When Mr. Trump stated, oh, we want those, rare earth metals and, the resources to develop, and Putin stated, sure, let's do the joint ventures in Novorossiya with Russia. And Novorossiya, what is Novorossiya? It's all left bank of Dnieper, and of course, it's Nikolaev and Odessa. So, yeah, well, let's leave it at that, because obviously the rest of it will be pure speculation on my part. But we pretty much know where it all goes. And Russians already cleared 99% of the Kursk pocket, the wedge, and they are already in Sumy Oblast, actually, operations of Russian army, not just DRGs, diversion recon groups, but Russian, regular formations are already in Sumy region. So I don't know. I'm not general staff. They're not telling me their plans, and rightly so.
I heard one estimate that Russia has 75 trillion in natural resources. Do you think that's accurate?
I think so. It's more than that, but yeah, it's just. And again, depending on how you put the number, Russia sits on about 1/3 of all natural resources of the world. That is why it's such a desirable piece of land for Europeans for so many centuries. And that's why they constantly try to, genocide Russians. And but the issue here is that it's a monetary expression of this does not even begin to describe actually the reality of what is in there. We know that, especially in the Arctic, which is being developed as we speak and very, actively. There are some incredible, riches there. And then, of course, the what many people do not understand. Russia also sits on the rare earth metals, but before it was very expensive to develop. Now the technologies are there, they're Russian technologies. And so in this case, Russia does not need continue to buy Chinese rare earth until it develops, until it begins to fully develop those, the resources. And it's everything in there. Anything, gas, oil, uranium, things of this nature. It's just a matter of how much investment you want to put in and develop it.
So would you say that Project Ukraine is a stepping stone to destabilize Russia by the globalists to try and get those assets, those resources?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Plus, do not forget, those elites, they are really kindergarten in many respects. They have their ambitions and egos larger than cathedrals for some reason. Somebody tells them constantly in Oxford, some political science BS, department that, oh, you're good, you are from, aristocratic family. They are, in reality, many of them are inbred imbeciles. And and when you look at that, yeah, they know nothing about the world outside. For example, if you look attentively at the Council for Foreign Relations or American military as represented by all kinds of the generals and combat veterans, most of them, they're ignoramuses. They don't understand basic things about how the world works, what drives the world. And of course, it was always this hatred of Russian, visceral hatred of Russians that Mr. Lavrov today, just a few hours ago, stated. Europe and Nazis are inseparable. Europe supports Nazis. It's a ram against Russians. Not only they want to destroy Russia, they want partition it to be, have access to the resources. And if Russians die as nation, don't forget, for average guy from Oxford, I am a Slav, or from any guy from Harvard, I am a subhuman. I am Untermensch. because this is, for example, if you remember Mr. Clapper's famous quip about Russians, that they're genetically driven to lie and cheat and all that. Obviously, there was no reaction from Anglo-Saxon press. And yeah, that's how they think. That's their, modus operandi. This is their view. This is the view, for example, most people in London, and including your British media. Same goes for people from New York Times. Same goes from people from State Department and things like that. And as a result, thinking like this, they basically sentence their civilization to what we observe now.
So Helen is asking, when will the Russian sanctions be lifted? And didn't Putin do a speech saying
they will not be lifted? Mr. Putin, a week ago, speaking, and I quote, speaking to the Russian Union of the Industrialists and Entrepreneurs. You can look it up. It's on YouTube and elsewhere. He stated, "Prepare to live under sanctions forever." Simple as that. I quoted him. So that's no, sanctions will not be lifted.
And haven't the sanctions just strengthened Russia's economy's independence and reliance on the West?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just that, obviously, as I already stated, there are prostitutes and media whores in the West. They simply do not report what is happening in Russia. Because, obviously, can you imagine that? Yeah, you have those. It's a long story. They said a delusional group of people, quite extensive, obviously, with all those soft degrees in nothing, who still believe that they run the world, they run the universe. Well, in reality, they are being sidelined, and as a result, they are not situationally aware. We have the proof in the pudding. Those guys in 2022, they thought that they could, inflict military defeat on Russia. Russian people will rise up, and remove Putin's regime. And so they're delusional. So that's what it is. As I already stated, I am on record. Pretty much all history, political science, pseudoscience departments, on all those sociology departments, and all those elite education facilities in like Harvard or Oxford, they should be simply dissolved because they commit academic fraud. They always did.
Yeah, the prostitutes here are always just saying that Ukraine's winning and showing videos of things getting blown up that are Russian. One thing they did show recently was some oil infrastructure at the weekend. Was that a real story, or was that a puff piece saying the Russians got hit with the oil?
They attacked KTK, which is the pipeline, and all of its oil belongs to Chevron and and Mobile. And, sure, Russia said, you know what, you're killing not us, you're killing their oil. The same as they blew up their, what is called their pipe measuring complex at the real border, for the gas pipeline to Europe. Okay, Russia says, sure, it's your gas, it's your oil. Sorry, guys, force majeure, bye-bye. And that's what is. Listen, it's a kindergarten. Okay, it's a childish behavior of immature crybabies and children throwing tantrum. As I already, for example, if you are in the same room with the BBC or Times reporter, make sure you have a good course of antibiotics after that to take. Okay, these are not normal people. Their whole system was preparing political elites who are freaks, and as the result, we can see what is happening. UK, France, on the verge of. I don't think so. France is going to last beyond the 2050, 2050, and so as the unified nation and as a nation at all. Yeah.
Well, that is very interesting. Let me just ask the viewers. Put one in the chat if wherever you are in the world, the news reported the oil got hit in Russia and Russia was taking huge hits. Put a 2 in the chat if the news reported this was Chevron, this was Mobil's infrastructure, and Chevron and Mobil were taking the hit, because we are being lied to so badly. And Germany is taking a massive hit because of the gas on the economy.
Germany is done. Germany is done. The Morgenthau plan was finally, initiated and put in action by German elites, no less. So there you go. Well, obviously, Biden administration blew up the Nord Stream 2, but Germans, that's who they are. So, and yeah, they are gone. They will not recover from that.
All right. So Tammy wants to know, how fast are Oreshniks?
I mean, at their entrance point, so to speak, when they are completely about to hit the ground, Mach 10 plus, I'm pretty sure at the maneuvering stage, probably more than that, probably significantly more than that.
Uber wants to know, do you think Zelensky and the US can be friends again after this?
Whatever, I don't know. So Trump, knowing Trump, who knows? He might call Zelensky his, son at some point of time. You cannot predict this bipolar Western politics at all. I mean, just so. I don't think so, but yeah, who knows?
He's either going to get unalived, or Zelensky, or he's going to be looking for a country like the Shah of Iran on the run, looking for a country to take him. All right, so Lynn wants to know, if Ukraine has an election, will Zelensky stand in the election?
As Mr. Stalin correctly stated, it's not who voted, it's who counted the votes which matters, okay? So, and in this case, look at United States. I mean, United States elected in 2020 the guy who was essentially mentally dead. So who knows?
I like that quote. So Agent Orange wants to know, is Ukraine hiring mercenaries? And what do they pay the mercenaries to fight?
They pay something, I understand. Most of it, they end up dead or run away if they can before being shot by their Ukrainian friends. So the rest of them, like American, British, Swedish, and Polish mercenaries, they're not really mercenaries, actually. They are cadre officers and NCOs who have been officially retired, quote unquote, from the armed forces, became civilians, quote unquote, and enrolled into those programs. But in reality, they are cadre people, and the only reason it's done is to cover up the tracks that, for example, as we all know, United States, Great Britain, Europeans, they support their so-called military advisors. So guess who mans all those air defense complexes and things like that? Of course, those are cadre officers and personnel. So,
all right, viewers, we've got 15 minutes left with Andrei. We've been covering Russia, Ukraine. You can check out his YouTube channel. You can check out his blog. Links are in the description on replay. Links are in the live chat. So in this last 15 minutes, if you've got any questions about any geopolitics, I know Yemen, the Houthi, Iran, we've got all that on our minds. So Diane wants to know, how long does Zelensky have left fronting the puppet show?
I don't know. Whenever these guys, you have to understand, he cannot stay alive because eventually Russians will get to him. There are many Ukrainians who would like to get to him to start with. And the West cannot keep this bird alive because once he is in Russian custody, so to speak, he will be singing. And believe me, he will be singing. And so much dirty laundry will be exposed that obviously he will be off at some point of time. I don't think so even the cosmetic surgery will do in this case. So because he will be found out, especially with the modern means of Russian intelligence and signal intelligence, all kinds of things, So, so he probably will be off at some point of time. Nobody will allow him to use his stolen millions, if not billions, of the Western money and live peacefully somewhere. I don't think so.
When you say singing, then, do you mean he'll be talking about like the conspiracy, the oligarchs, the intelligence agencies, the CIA, the Bidens, that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Biden's, Mojo, MI6, CIA. Come on. I mean, he is controlled by those people. Russians know what they need to know about Nazis. There is no surprises there. But they would love to put this jerk in the front of the jury on the International Tribunal for the war crimes and crimes against humanity by NATO, not just by Kiev regime. And guess what? He will be a stellar, his testimony will be stellar addition to basically what Russians already know, as already stated. Mr. Lavrov, people sometimes do not understand significance. They cannot grasp it. It's like when you tell them, they killed 70,000 people. Russians killed 70,000 people in this area of 159 square miles. And people still do not understand what it is. Like thousands, 337 main battle tanks, 1,000 this Humvees and Bradleys, all that. And people still have no this instrument, so to speak, to grasp what we're talking about. 70,000 killed KIAs. They don't understand that we are talking about around, probably by the time it will be done, 1.5 million dead, killed on the Ukrainian side. Many people have no capability to grasp those numbers, So, and what can I say? Those numbers are very interesting, and that tribunal, oh my gosh, that is very important,
So let's say the war ends for Ukraine, Russia, and that neocon plan to get the resources through that path ends. Isn't war with Iran another path to destabilize Russia by the neocons to compensate?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's no, they will try to hit at Iran because they just hate Iran to start with, So for them, it's a kind of, almost organic, natural thing. And it's Israel, it's neocons, neocon mafia in DC. But it's not only about Russia, it's about Iran itself. And again, keep in mind, they can only hit. They do not have guts enough to put any kind of the ground troops on the ground, because the war with Iran on the ground is nothing like what they encountered before. Albeit the main idea behind all that's the only thing they think they know how to do, is to change regime. To do something to the leadership of Iran, their, spiritual leader, and, those other, core of the guards of the Islamic Revolution and things of this nature. And they say, oh, okay, you see, and here you have the very pro-Western, very liberal Tehran. And so they come in, and then the new regime is in there. They think that's how they think. So, and will they start? Nothing could be excluded from this point of view, but I don't think so. They will necessarily make Russian life that much difficult if it, God forbid, of course, comes to this, So, but yeah, Russia probably will support Iran.
So people are upset because Trump said he was the peace president, and now he's bombing Yemen.
He never was.
He never was. Do you think he has power over the decisions of which countries they're going to bomb, or does that come from above him? He doesn't have control, really.
I mean, he is not moron, obviously, but he is a huge narcissist. His ego. And people who are around him, many of those people, and especially those warmongers, as usual, he chose Muslim warmongers, with the exception of a couple of really good appointments like Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel. You know what? It's easy to manipulate with those people. It really easy. It really is easy. So you just play around their egos, and they will go, like where you want them to go. And Trump is exactly like this, And again, make no mistake, he is real estate, shyster, New York real estate shyster. He knows only how to hustle, how to do the deals, And in that world, it's not how it works in the international arena, and especially when he doesn't, as he admitted himself, I quote, Putin has all cards in his hands, So yeah, United States doesn't have any. So he has to kind of maneuver right now. Again, he is not stupid, okay? He is definitely much more alert and much more capable than Biden was. But also keep in mind, he is also not a young fellow. His cognitive functions also may, kind of have a hit, which is absolutely natural. It's not his fault, And so it's a complex dynamics there. So it's difficult to say what is going on around him. But for now, he knows that he has to somehow succeed. But Russians are going to be giving him small bone after small bone if need be. And they will continue to do what they're doing.
So there's all these speeches of Tulsi 4 or 5 years ago talking about bombing Yemen was wrong and it's evil and it's one of the poorest countries in the world. And now she's for bombing Yemen. Do these people just say one thing and then they get in power and they do the complete opposite?
They have to, yeah, absolutely. Especially considering that United States foreign policy is practically from Tel Aviv, So again, United States, pardon my French, is the Israel slap beach. Okay, you have the whole Congress, which is completely in the pockets of the Israeli lobby. You have the APAC, which is of course American Israeli Political Action Public Affairs Committee. So yeah, they're all utterly corrupted. They're all cowards, all means of cowards there. So and they do what this Christian Zionists and this cabal of the nut jobs tells them to do. And yeah, you want to get the appointment. And actually, I think that it's still positive that Tulsi got where she got, because at least Trump now gets the real numbers and real intelligence on what is going on around him, unlike it was the case with the Biden. But yeah, in order to be there where she is, she has to kick, Israeli ass. That's what it is. That's what United States has become, slap beach of Tel Aviv. That's for the last 30 years, it's completely have been turned into this, and nothing could be done about it. At least by people who we have now. Maybe the new generation of people will emerge, but we'll see.
So you're saying the tail is wagging the dog, but isn't the tail a construct of the West, a military outpost in the Middle East? Isn't it got a geopolitical significance that they have to keep backing it?
I don't know. Difficult to say. I mean, again, I'm not specialist in the area. I know which powers, including Great Britain, of course, have been involved into all this from the get-go. But as already stated on a number of occasions, American elites, including the intel military elites, have been degrading themselves and embarrassing themselves for so long now that at this point of time, you ask yourself a question: who are in this upper echelon? Practically all of them are on their, either payroll or blackmailed by Israel or Israeli lobby in the United States. So, which is of course based primarily on this Protestant Christian Zionist cult, a death cult, essentially. But many people believe this garbage, especially baby boomers. This is the most despicable generation. That's where they draw their strengths from. And it will continue for a while. Again, there are no courageous people who can make it to the upper echelons of power, say it has to stop. They will be sabotaged. As many people begin to believe in that JFK was actually, shot with the participation of Israel. So who knows?
All right, we've got 5 minutes left with Andrei. Get your final questions in, folks, and please subscribe to his channel, read his blog. Links are in the chat. So, Miss Fiji, what are your thoughts on the international law of the blockade of the Red Sea that was imposed by Yemen?
Well, realistically, it is, of course, it doesn't correspond with international law. It is unlawful operation by them, but it's war, So, and what can I say? I mean, they decided to do it. What can you do? You have to convince them to stop doing this. How you convince them? Well, there's a lot of things attached, there. but the United States decided that it can do and unblock it. Evidently, it didn't. And it was dramatically unsuccessful, this prosperity guardian thing. It was a complete failure, almost because most of the shipping companies today, they do not go through, Red Sea.
You're getting asked if you think America is at risk of civil war.
Difficult to say, because obviously the fanatics who constitute the main brown shirts of the Democratic National Committee, they are fanatics for a reason. Fanatics usually cannot hold on to power. They will destroy, well, I'm quoting almost famous Soviet movie, but they will destroy themselves. And the conservative America, in many respects, if you remove also this, Christian Zionist element, it's much better armed, if you talk about it. And those people, primarily those fanatics, they are mostly concentrated in their coastal cities, such as New York, Boston, and let alone San Francisco, and Seattle. And from the purely operational point of view, it's very easy to basically block them there, if it comes down to it. And again, as I already stated, conservative America is much better armed, much better. So, and who knows?
Do you think any European countries are at risk of civil war or disintegration?
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. European men have been completely emasculated, and we essentially have nations of the, pardon my French, cuckolds. German men are like this. French has become that. And they will, as Michael Hollebeck, who stole, by the way, the plot from Elena Chudinova's famous, actually bestseller of 2005, which is called the Mosque of the Notre Dame de Paris. And of course, 10 years later, Michael Hollebeck writes the Soumission, submission thing, which is essentially about Islamization and Africanization of Europe. They are, they are, how to say it, much more energetic communities. And they can beat the, pardon my French, crap from any, so-called French or German intelligent, if you wish, easily. They are, have this drive behind them, and they do not, they do not assimilate. And as a result, they are much more cohesive. And they have, so to speak, in terms of the influence, much greater influence than, you saw yourself. For example, you can take a look at the French lady cop being beaten senseless in the banlieue. She never pulled the gun. I mean, this is who they are. This is what Europeans are today, And yeah, those, small islands of the real masculinity, of real understanding of their, whatever is left of which is a requirement for the survival of the nation, you either have the fanatical feminists or you have the cocks, and as the result, you have this passionate people from the Middle East and from Africa, and they have Islam, they have all kinds of things, they go in, they create these no-go zones, and there you go. What are you going to do? So, and guess what? They are being armed, and as I already stated, a few months ago, this French generals and, intelligence people wrote this open letter that the country on the verge of disintegration. What are they going to do about it? Nothing. So there you go. That's what Europe has become.
And that is exactly the cycle described by Adam Smith in The Wealth of the Nations, whereby the wealthy nations get emasculated and lazy, and the poorer nations are hungry and more aggressive, and then they eventually
passions are there, and the question is not just in the nation. The question is that Europe and European people, because they are live in this primrose fantasy, most of them, and they decided that national borders are Irrelevant. Well, welcome to the real world, and that's what it's too late now. They cannot stop it. Period. No matter what their politicians come in, they are all cowards, and the only thing they know is how to stay in power. Period. How to re-elect themselves. They do not have, none of them. Show me any single a parliamentary member or a government official from Europe who has any statesmanship skills. None. They are all politicians. They know how to BS you for you to cast your vote for them. Period. And yeah, so I don't know what's the deal with UK to bestow this knighthood thing to all kinds of freaks and assholes. I don't know, but yeah, look at this guy. He is cretin basically, and but yeah, what can I say? Nobody is going to cancel the Chamber of Lords in United Kingdom, and it will continue to go down the hill. I'm sorry to say this. And it's already turning into the third world nation. They may still hold on to Rolls-Royce, and some other few things which they can do, and that's it. There's nothing left.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's got the charisma of a worm. Viewers, put a 1 in the chat if you think you see a scintilla of statesmanship in the physiology of Keir Starmer. Put a 2 in the chat if he's just glazed, just bureaucratic, robotic, psychopath. And I think I know how they're going to answer that. We've got 1 minute left. Andrei, what's your thoughts on AI and what's your thoughts on AI? How governments can use it for war?
Oh, it's all garbage. There's no AI. There is neural networks, and yeah, there's machine learning, no doubt about it. It has nothing to do with AI. In essence, there's nothing more than advanced algorithms, machine algorithms, which allow you, due to the obviously increase in the the signal information processing in computers, to have advanced algorithms. Yes, you can distinguish things, for example, optically nowadays, which you couldn't do even 10 years ago. So there's no AI, and it's not going to appear anytime soon. But it's the same marketing BS as Tesla being a good car, or iPhones. People buy this crap because it's in the trend and things like that. That's how you manipulate with hoi polloi. So there you go. You sell them the same Chinese-made running shoes, but stick on it some kind of stupid label, and out of $30, they become $3,000. I mean, people are, in this case, it's a conspicuous consumption, and it's all connected with all this, Well, some people believe that, Elon Musk is a good engineer. He doesn't even have engineering degree. But what can I say?
It's always fascinating, my friend. I always learn so much. I hope you come back sooner this time. And what can people look forward to at your channel and at your blog in the coming week?
Well, I'll continue to do what I do. I comment. I became what I hated always. I became the political commentator. Well, I still maintain the significant input from a military perspective, professional military perspective, not all this, BS YouTube videos. So, but people do not like math, and you cannot explain modern war and even old war without math, and physics. So you have to periodically do this, like slap in the face, that, here it is, the salvo model, here is the theory of probability, and this is how you calculate things. But primarily, I became the military political commentator.
All right, well, I'm going to close the show and let you go. And huge thank you for spending time with us. And you take care, my friend. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, folks. And next up, we have got Jen's show with shamanic priestess Emily. And then at 9 o'clock, we have got the return of Jonathan Hay, Rihanna's publicist. He's going to be talking about Diddy, Jay-Z, Johnny Depp. He's got something really diabolical to say about Johnny Depp. So stay tuned if you want to get customized over to Jen and Emily going zen. I'm going to take care of baby Ziggy in the meantime. Thanks for your questions. That was